So this is what just happened, right? So the biggest thing I always am constantly talking about is emotional intelligence, how to respond. And today I can admit I had an emotional trigger. And I wanted to be really transparent on here because we always talk about transparency, authenticity, and I can be very vulnerable for you. So I'm working with this company that I will choose to keep just completely nameless. I just won't do it. um, I'm working with this company to that is publishing my book. And one thing I learned very quickly when you're out to look for a company of that nature, be really clear on your expectations and also make sure that if you are the company and you're talking to the client, be clear on what you can actually do and execute. So this has been a very hard lesson today. It's been extremely difficult. I got news that one of my books just was not printed correctly, so I just lost it. I'll just be completely honest. I did. I literally lost it. When I mean I popped off. I was livid because not only was this happening once, this had happened twice and to literally three of my different clients. This is the first book I wrote. And of course, with anything that you do, you want to make sure that your clients and your customers have a wonderful experience. You want to make sure that there is nothing that you have not thought about that would not actually happen that couldn't have a problem. So I thought about A through Z. What I did not expect is when you're working with third party companies, your Amazons, your Lulus, that because they run the distribution and the shipping side, stuff can go wrong. I just didn't think about that. I don't know what I was thinking. I thought that maybe because everything I touched was gold, that what could possibly go wrong? I have executed this thing, 15 ways from Sunday. I knew exactly what I wanted this to happen. And it didn't happen that way. I can admit it. I went off. No cursing, just completely went off. Um, I definitely was very harsh and I was direct. I told them simply because they did make mistakes. There were a lot of errors, and I'm not sure if it was a lack of communication, if it wasn't clear, defined, whatever it was. I was hot, from simple mistakes, from rushing to just not answering or communicating what should have been done. All of it. So today was a very explosive trigger day for me. On top of just having executives come into my job and still make sure that I had to be on point and saving face. And if you haven't already checked out my code switching video that I did for YCAPS later, actually a couple of months ago, check that out. It literally talks about the emotional drain of having to code switch, to constantly put on this fake facade front that you're not always you. Now, I do pride myself of being as authentic as possible. So that also means I don't always have a good day. I'm not fake. You will see that I have emotions. You see that I do roll my eyes and all of that stuff, but I wanted you to get to know me a little bit more. So I created this children's book, right? It's actually a three-part series, and I wanted it to be phenomenal. I created it because I wanted my son, who was a little black boy, to grow up to be a black man who is going to be emotionally intelligent, not just overly emotional. I know that he has a bunch of stuff that's going to come up against him at some point, and I needed him to realize how to handle it in a way that it wasn't just going to turn him off. I wanted him to understand that at the end of the day, if I am not there, if his father's not there, he should be able to act accordingly. And that's by learning now. Like right now, my son is 2, but I wanted him to understand his emotions, be able to address them, label them, and express themselves in an atmosphere and an environment where he can do that and feel comfortable in doing so. And I can admit that today was not that day for me. I had a trigger. I popped off. I had an emotional hijack. And I also have a course for that. So I know tonight I will be going back to reading my own course content to then have a step and breathe, because I think today was just the pileup effect. It was I've been prepping all week for an executive. Then I had another plan that I had to go to a memorial service. And I had to plan for that and be on top. And on top of that, I'm a mom and I'm a wife and I'm different. It's a lot. It is honestly a lot. And your girl is tired. Bottom line, I'm tired. I'm tired of trying to fix everything. I'm tired of trying to be the perfect mom. And I know that that is very asinine, ridiculous, but that's just what it is. I mean, for the moms and the wives, you guys get it. There's pressure. There's pressure to be everything to everyone. And sometimes you just can't do it, honey. I mean, look at me right now. I'm in pajamas and I'm talking to you, and I'm completely okay with that. I'm still waiting to fulfill a couple more orders so I can make sure that my clients still have the best experience, even if it is to the detriment of my own pockets. I don't believe that anything that is not worth touching should be worth giving. I want people to read this book. I believe in this book. This book was created for my kids, my future kids, my grandkids, cousins, nieces, nephews. I wanted it to be just that. I wanted brown children, girls and boys, to realize that you can express yourself. I created a pride guide in the back for the parents to also walk their kids through these emotions. How to identify self-regard? How to identify emotional expression? How do I teach this to my child? I even give you examples, activities, things that you can actually do so they can work on it. Emotional intelligence is a workable trait. It's not something you could just read in a book once and put it down. It's not something that you can actually Google on an iPad and just look at a couple of articles and say, well, I did my thing. I am gone. It doesn't work like that. You literally have to put it into action every day. You need to be intentional about it. I decided that for the entire rest of the summer, I was going to pick one of the 15 competencies and just work on one at a time. Today was stress tolerance, and I failed. If I had to honestly give myself a rating, I would say you got an F. I'm hard on myself, and I'm okay with that. An F is, I think, a pretty solid letter grade because I did go off. It wasn't a blackout moment. I was very clear about what I said, and I meant what I said. Now, the direction and the tone, yes, inappropriate. It wasn't right, and I do apologize to Russ for being the person on the other end hearing the spewage that was coming out. But I was right. I was frustrated. I was tired of dealing with mediocrity. I deal with a lot of that in one job. I didn't want to have to deal with that for people that I hired. I didn't hire you a job to be mediocre. I hired you to be excellent because that is what your name was. Excellent. I expected a level of it and I didn't get it. And I was upset and angry and pissed and frustrated and every single emotion that came with it. I was tired. I'm tired of having to feel like I have to do it all. I'm tired of trying to create something for a little person that he won't even realize is going to be worth anything 20 years from now. I'm tired. I want to be able to take a rest. And then you start seeing just different things from social media and being an entrepreneur. Let me be honest, baby. This is not for the weak. It's not. You're constantly having to move. You're constantly having to shake. You're doing all of this. Plus, did I not say that we move next year to go overseas? Don't even get me started. That's going to be a whole nother just journal. Like Coco Brown countdown to Cairo. How am I even feeling about that? I can't even possibly mentally prepare for that right now because I'm so busy focused on wanting to get on the New York Best Times bestseller. Less than 4% of Black authors actually make it unless you're Oprah. And even then, I don't even think Gail's on that list. But I wanted to do something intentional. I wanted it to be useful, resourceful. I just wanted to help. And today I can admit that my emotions got the best of me. It really did. So, of course, as I look at the time, it's definitely time for me to wind down, get some rest, jumpstart my day tomorrow, and hopefully be in a much better mood because today was not the day. So, that is my transparent Coach Ham Chronicle. Until next time.